Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for Eden Zero Chapter 49. And this week there was quite a bit to chew on this week in this chapter. Even if the progression wasn't all that great, I guess up until the end. But anyway, the first big thing in this chapter is we learned that Ziggy essentially he wiped all aspect of the travel coordinates to the outer universe from pretty much the Eden Zero's archives. Like, the travel coordinates to the outer universe are nowhere have been wiped from the travel archives of the Eden Zero, which of course with Shiki being the typical shonen protagonist that he is, he squares it as per Ziggy's intention of having the crew find their own way and have their own adventure to get there. But after the reveal in this chapter, I think it was more Ziggy's way of telling them that even after Valkyrie joins the crew, I don't think the Eden Zero crew is still going to be. I think it's his way of saying that even after Valkyrie's found, I think the Eden Zero crew is still going to be unprepared for anything that the journey into the outer cosmos has planned for them, at least in terms, or at the very least, in terms of manpower. I think that's the key thing to take away from this is that the Eden Zero crew aren't don't have the manpower necessary. Even after Valkyrie's found, I don't think the Eden Zero crew is going to have the manpower necessary in order to travel to pretty much the outer universe and find Mother. Which of course inevitably leads to the other big reveal of this chapter, which is where we get introduced to Captain Connor. And from the first time he was introduced, I knew he was playing a little bit of trickery, but I knew he was playing some kind of trickery just on panel 1 alone. But the moment he introduced himself as captain of Eden's 1, my mouth dropped, because if I got the context right, and if this guy is captain of a ship called Eden's 1, then the scenario that we're looking at here is that there pretty much has to be more pretty much ships out there under the name Edens. And if that's the case, Ziggy essentially has an entire fleet of ships that are waiting that are basically waiting for the return of the Demon King, and that are waiting for the return of the Demon King, or for a new Demon King to step up and lead them, and I think it's also one of those situations where until this fleet is reformed, I think the Eden Zero crew should basically forget any aspect of going to the outer universe, because I don't think it's going to be possible I don't think it's going to be possible until this pretty much fleet is reformed. Because again, just with the prospect of there being more ships under the name of Edens, and the prospect of this Eden's fleet that pretty much Ziggy commanded, I get the sense that what Ziggy did is he may have entrusted the coordinates to the outer universe with pretty much each of his fleet captains, like Connor. So I think in order for them to even think about going to the other universe, I think what Shiki has to do now is find these other captains and their ships, and then from when he goes to the other universe, he's going to have an entire fleet at his disposal. And Shiki does go to the outer universe, he's going to have an entire fleet at his disposal, and not just Eden's 1 anymore. And again, if this is the case, I gotta admit it's a very creative way of keeping the series going. I mean, I've always been a big believer that that when it comes to keeping a series going in the long term, there's always a thin line that as the creator you always walk with how you keep a series going longer, and how there's both a good way and a bad way to do it. But assuming Machima is going down the route I've laid out with Shiki needing to in order to reform this massive fleet that Shiki has had under his command, then it's the perfect way to go about it, because if it's just because it's presented as just another step to in order preparing for basically the complete and larger adventure in the outer cosmos, in the outer galaxies and whatnot, in order to find Mother. Now, and on that note, we also get introduced to the Aqua Cosmos in this chapter, and I really like how Mashima, and going on that, I really like how Mashima is starting to expand the world beyond just planets, and how we are diving into the actual world itself with this chapter. And I hope it continues to do that more of it now that we are reaching an area of the story where we can explore more than just planets and whatnot. But where the possibility of exploring more than just planets kind of exists now. The other thing, however, in this is that I remember back a couple chapters that Draken Joe and his men were looking for someone named Connor. So if this is the exact same Connor, then yeah. If this guy is the exact same Connor, then pretty much this is already going to put even more of a target on the Eden Zero's back than they pretty much were before. I mean with pretty much Spider, when Spider pretty much told Draken Joe, I think he more or less he just kind of shrugged them off and just killed Spider then and there, but the fact that Connor is with Eden Zero now, it gives Draken Joe a bit more of a reason in order to go after them now, and honestly, if Draken Joe is going after them now too, I think if this is the Connor that Draken Joe is looking for, then I feel that this pretty much even adds a little more validity to pretty much the whole theory that I just laid out about how each of the commanders, each of Ziggy's fleet commanders have like a piece of them, have a piece of the coordinates in order to get to the outer universe and to the outer universe and Mother. So yeah, it works on that level too. That yeah, I think obviously Draken Joe is definitely going to need Connor for something. So it would have to be to get to the outer universe and Mother, obviously. But from here, yeah, I guess it's just going to be interesting to see how and this just kind of builds more on the conflict of what's going to happen when Eden Zero and Draken Joe's crew just kind of clash. That's going to be interesting for sure. But pretty much for now, the chapter ends with pretty much the crew reaching. The chapter ends with the crew having reached the planet that pretty much Valkyrie is on, and from here this is where things are just gonna get, I think, interesting, because we're now just gonna dive into what Valkyrie's been up to, and yeah, I'm curious as to what the situation on this planet is gonna be like, because with Valkyrie, again, I'm not convinced that Valkyrie is acting as some kind of a hired freedom fighter in order to protect the poor people from the wealthy on this planet. But again, just something we'll have to see. But yeah, guys, that's my review. Enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Mr. Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.